Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something that powers our world, but, almost always stays hidden from view. It's called legacy system modernization. And honestly, it's the secret engine that helps the companies you rely on every single day stay current, secure, and ready for whatever's next.
So let me ask you this. What if your bank, or the hospital down the street, or even your favorite online store was running on tech from like 40 years ago? It sounds kind of crazy, right? But for a ton of organizations, this isn't a what if. It's their daily reality. And that creates this huge invisible risk that, believe it or not, affects all of us. Let's dig into what that really means.
Okay, here's the plan. First, we'll talk about the problem, what we're calling the ticking time bomb of old tech. Then, we'll get clear on what modernization actually is. After that, we'll look at the business payoff, why it's so worth it. We'll walk through the 9-step blueprint for how it gets done. And finally, we'll see how this is all changing our world in some really important industries.
All right, let's start with the heart of the problem, these legacy systems. And we're not just talking about old computers in a dusty back room. Nope, these are entire ecosystems, outdated, often super fragile platforms that are still running critical operations behind the scenes. And yeah, they are definitely a ticking time bomb. You can really see the difference here. Legacy systems are just rigid. They're slow, they're clunky, and they are incredibly expensive to keep alive. It's kind of like owning a vintage car. Sure, it looks cool, but you probably wouldn't bet on it for a long road trip, right? Modern systems, though, they're built from the ground up to be flexible, scalable, and secure. The difference is just night and day.
So, what's the big deal about sticking with old tech? Well, it's not just inefficient, it's downright dangerous. We're talking about systems failing more often, a total inability to grow when the business grows, and, this is the big one, being wide open to modern security threats. It basically traps a company in this vicious cycle of high costs and zero innovation.
So if legacy systems are the villain of this story, what's the solution? Well, this brings us to the hero, legacy system modernization. And trust me, this is way more than just patching up some old code. It's a full-on strategic overhaul. At its heart, modernization is a strategic upgrade. The whole point is to boost security, make the system scalable, and improve performance. And that word, strategic, is so important. This isn't just a project for the IT department, it's a major business move that fuels growth and real digital transformation.
And you have to know, this is not a one-size-fits-all kind of fix. Modernization is really a whole suite of services. Sometimes you're just modernizing a single app. Other times, you're migrating the entire system to a new platform. You might even rebuild an application completely from scratch. It's all about tailoring the approach to solve a very specific problem.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like a massive, complicated project. So, why bother? Let's get into the real, tangible benefits, the business payoff that makes this whole transformation absolutely worth the effort.
First and foremost, and this is huge, is security. In a world where data breaches are in the news every week, running on old, unsupported software is like leaving your front door wide open with a welcome mat out. Modernization slams that door shut, beefs up data protection, and makes sure the system meets all of today's tough security and compliance rules.
Next up, the bottom line. Let's talk money. You see, those ancient systems need specialists to maintain them, people with skills that are getting rarer and more expensive by the day. The costs just spiral upwards. But when you move to a modern, streamlined system, those long-term support costs get slashed. It's really that classic case of spending some money now to save a lot more down the road. Now this is where it gets really exciting. Modernization isn't just about playing defense, it's about going on offense. It completely unlocks a company's ability to innovate. By moving to modern, agile frameworks, businesses can suddenly build and release new features for their customers way faster, giving them a massive edge over competitors who are still stuck in the past. And finally, it's about being ready for whatever comes next. A modern system is built on a flexible architecture. That means as a business gets bigger, its technology can easily grow right along with it, handling more users, more data, more transactions, all without breaking a sweat. It's about building for tomorrow, not just patching up yesterday.
So, we get the what and the why. But what about the how? How does a transformation like this actually happen? Well, let's look at the proven 9-step blueprint that guides the whole process from A to Z.
The whole thing really breaks down into 3 major phases. First up is assess and plan. This is the look before you leap stage.
You do a deep dive assessment of the current system, make sure the project aligns with the company's real business goals, and then you map out the architecture for the future. Then comes phase 2, execute and migrate. This is where the heavy lifting happens, defining the migration strategy, modernizing all that old code, and upgrading the applications. And finally, you have transform and support. This is about getting across the finish line and beyond, transforming the core systems and then providing that crucial ongoing support to make sure everything runs perfectly for years to come.
And this quote right here, it really gets to the core of the whole philosophy. This isn't just about nerds swapping out servers or rewriting code in a back room. No way. It's about deeply connecting all that technical work to the company's biggest goals, its strategy, and its plans for the future. It's a business decision, through and through.
So now, let's zoom out a bit and see how all this plays out in the real world. Because this process is quietly reshaping the essential services that we all use every single day, across a whole bunch of different industries.
This table gives such a great snapshot. Just look at banking, for example. Their big challenge is these ancient core systems, and their goal is to give us the fast, secure digital banking that we all just expect now. Or think about healthcare. It's all about protecting our patient data and making sure all those different electronic health records can actually talk to each other. For retail, it's about making sure their inventory and payment systems can handle both online and in-store shopping seamlessly. Every industry has its own unique puzzle, and modernization is the key to solving it.
So the key takeaway from all those examples is one word: balance. The ultimate goal here is to meet the super specific operational rules and regulations for each industry, like HIPAA for healthcare or all the financial rules for banking, while at the same time unlocking innovation and growth for the future. It's a tricky balancing act, but it's absolutely crucial.
And that brings us to one last thought to leave you with. The next time you use an ATM, or check in at the doctor's office, or track a package online, just take a second to think about the technology humming away behind the scenes. What unseen legacy systems are powering your life, and what does it mean for you when they finally get modernized? It's a process that is constantly, quietly, making our digital world just a little bit better.